everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a look back at the Spike Lee movie called Crooklyn. Released in May the 13th, 1994, it stars Alfre Woodard, Delroy Lindo, Zelda Harris, and it was directed by the acclaimed filmmaker, of course, Spike Lee. Now the story of Crooklyn is set within 1970s Brooklyn of New York, where amongst a whole host of diverse characters we focus on the Afro-American family known as the Carmichaels. And we see them growing up within the community, going through various dilemmas, growing pains, issues, and just trying to survive in life. Now, as we all know, Spike Lee as a director is revered especially from his early work throughout the late 1980s to the early 1990s, where he made some of the most powerful, thought-provoking and energetic movies surrounding racial issues within the Afro-American black culture. Whether it was the likes of Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, or Malcolm X, or even the more light and positive mood of Mo Better Blues. All of these films were full of colour, vibrancy, soul, and for the most part carried an important message and substance. So it is with some frustration at the first time of watching this film that Crooklyn proves to be somewhat of a disappointment within Spike Lee's career. Now just to be clear here, when I say this, I'm not saying that this is a terrible film. It does have a lot of qualities in terms of the visual aesthetics that I mentioned within the previous works of Spike Lee. It's a movie full of colour and light and vibrancy and brightness. We get the smooth, quick editing style that Spike Lee has that's very similar to a lot of Scorsese's work, alongside a seamlessly endless playlist of songs, especially in the first half of the movie. And there are moments where if you grew up as a black person within this type of community that you could relate to, as we see the youngsters always being late for school, getting nicked for shoplifting, trying to stay up late watching TV, getting told off by their parents, wetting the bed, vomiting after eating too much. All of these experiences we went through at some stage throughout our younger lives. And this movie is very much a snapshot of youth culture for a certain generation, and it was indeed that by design, by the director himself and also his sister Jolie, who created the concept and script drawing from their real life experiences growing up. But for all of these qualities, the film's biggest flaw is a lack of focus, a lack of actual narrative. For the most part, the film is less a movie plot and much more of a string of sequences put together in very much a messy and incoherent fashion. If you're feeling drawn in by the movie's energy in the earlier sequences, then probably around the 20-minute mark you will start to wonder where exactly is this film actually heading. And the fact is that there is no real main story, there's no real character journey despite the huge cast of characters involved. And for any film, regardless of how good the direction is, the editing, the cast of actors, or the music, if there is no real story, no real focus, then the movie will ultimately fail. It's less a story and much more of an exhibition or a showcase of scenes, and once more it gets frustrating to watch and I think a bit tiresome as the movie goes on. It's almost as if Lee used so much soundtrack to cover the fact that he had no real clear story to tell, and this is a tactic that a lot of directors use very much when a film is designed much more through concept than it is rather through storyline. Now to be fair, the film does settle down a bit in its second half as we see the strained relationship between Carolyn and Woody, both characters who were played absolutely brilliantly by both Alfre Woodard and Delroy Lindo, two actors who it seems have been around for absolutely forever within the industry, and both have deserved far more bigger established careers. As the husband and father, Woody is far less the sympathetic character, as we see that he's more focused on making his fading music than actually supporting the family. We sympathise a lot more with Carolyn, who makes ultimately a lot of sacrifices in trying to support the multiple kids as well as pay all of the bills and just try to keep the family afloat. This is brought into even sharper focus when we concentrate on the deterioration of her health in the second half of the film. But ultimately both characters are played fantastically well by the two actors. But then the film focuses on the younger daughter named Troy and her staying with her auntie and uncle in a richer house. And this is where again the story really stutters. Again, a real lack of momentum or movement or purpose. Yes, as I mentioned before, towards the end there is a certain emotional impact. Again, I think it could have been far more stronger if there was much more of a consistent narrative all the way through. And at the end the film really just peters out on a flat note. So we then go on to the release of the film, and it was way less successful than Lee's previous efforts. All in all, only grossing $13 million from a $14 million budget. Again, I feel a lack of story or a compelling lead star didn't really help promote the film. Previously, Spike Lee has been able to rely on the likes of Denzel Washington to propel his movies, but sadly that wasn't the case this time round. And ultimately, post this release, I do feel that Spike Lee bounced back to an extent with superior efforts such as Clockers in 1996 and He Got Game in 1998. Both films with a far more purposeful story and a message within their concept. And as I said, there are a lot of things to credit Crooklyn. At times it can be an affectionate snapshot as to what life was like growing up, but a sad lack of direction from the story and the director ultimately means it doesn't truly have the impact of his previous films. So that's my overall thoughts and feelings and review of the film Crooklyn. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other movies, television series, or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, also drop me a suggestion within the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.